Good morning. Welcome back to the channel. This video is not financial advice. I'm not a financial advisor. Do your own research, make your own decisions. All right, guys, welcome back. Very important video. This is going to be part 2 from yesterday. So if you did not see yesterday's video, I would recommend watching that first. I do want to clear up a general misconception I had about what Origyn is doing in the diamond industry. A subscriber shared a video from Origyn that was like a month ago, which I'll be going over. And it made a lot of things make sense. So in this video, I'm going to be differentiating what Origyn is doing on ICP with digital certificates and most any other solution that's out there on the market right now. All right. So first of all, I just want to start with my general misconception. So in the diamond industry, they have laboratories that they use to analyze these diamonds and to grade the diamonds, right? And so they have their own processes, their own technology, and their own general systems that they use to grade these diamonds. And I was not sure if they were also using Origyn's hardware and their technology on top of that to analyze these diamonds, but it doesn't seem like that's the case. And this is the video that I was referring to. This is in my community tab, but I'll also tag this in the description section for the video. And this is from Origyn directly. And this is when Mike Schwartz was talking at the ICP community conference. So I understood that these diamond grading companies have their own labs and their own systems that they use. What I didn't know is, were they using Origyn's technology and their hardware on top of that as a complement to what they're already doing, as, I guess, additional ways to further analyze and authenticate certain diamonds. And it doesn't appear like that's the case. All right. Which is not necessarily a bad thing, because the big differentiation here is what you can embed in these NFTs and the fact that they're on ICP compared to pretty much anything else. All right. So when you're looking at the watch industry, these are the hardware that I was talking about. And these boxes, these are the things that they use for the luxury watches, because they put the luxury watch in this box, and then it scans the watch from a ton of different angles using high resolution cameras to be able to differentiate one watch from another watch. All right. So when I originally started looking into Origyn, it was because of the luxury watch use case. And so with further developments with Origyn, like for precious metals, for example, I knew that I didn't think that they were using this just because it's a different type of an asset. And so they were using QR codes and serial numbers to be able to differentiate and track one piece of gold from another piece of gold. All right. So just a different, I guess, system used when it comes to precious metals. It doesn't appear like they're using any type of Origyn hardware for the diamonds. All right. It appears like the main differentiation is what you can do with their NFTs and their digital certificates, Origyns, compared to everything else. Okay. And also added on top of that, the fact that it's on ICP and not on some other type of network. Okay. So for starters, even though I just went on a long spiel there, so this is the video I'm referring to. And apparently the people from dfinity, and this is in the video, met with De Beers back in 2017 and were already having these conversations years and years ago. And Mike talks about this in the video. All right. And so they actually pitched them this idea years ago. Right. And they did have some degree of success, which he talks about, but it was built on Ethereum. So ultimately it didn't scale, couldn't perform. And he says that it ultimately fell back to private chain derivatives and then De Beers only. All right. So we mentioned yesterday how, De Beers was using their own tracer blockchain solution. Right. And then he goes on to say that De Beers is starting to open that back up. Whatever he meant by that, I'm not entirely sure, but that's what he said in the video, and you can watch that for yourself. All right, so the main takeaway here is that they had actually met with De Beers years and years ago and pitched a solution. It didn't necessarily work out because it couldn't scale. It was on Ethereum. De Beers, I guess, took it back in-house, and per Mike, they're planning to open that back up. But Mike did confirm in this video that they are working with one of the largest grading companies. And he said verbatim, well, I think this is pretty close to verbatim, one of the largest grading companies at the core with 6 or 7 others involved. All right, now this is going to get into something that I did mention yesterday, just kind of in a different context. See, when I was talking yesterday, I said, it just doesn't make sense for them to use like different technology to grade these different diamonds. And I was still under the misconception that they were using in some way Origyn's hardware, which I don't think is the case. All right, I think that they're just compiling everything, doing their own analysis, doing their own grading, and then they're just giving, in theory, they would just be giving Origyn all of the data, right, to build out the digital certificate itself. So why use Origyn? All right, why use Origyn? This is really, and there's some other things I want to go over too about other use cases and other markets that they're in. But this is really the meat and potatoes. This is the slide, okay? Because when you're looking at why would a luxury watch company use Origyn? Well, they actually have hardware for luxury watches specifically, but why would a precious metals company, or why would a diamonds company use Origyn as opposed to some other type of solution? Well, what you can embed in their NFTs, there's such a big gap between that and almost anything else that, in my opinion, until a comparable solution surfaces, this is going to probably be the best digital certificate solution on the market, right? And that's what they'll openly say. We have built the most powerful digital certificate in the world, right? And a lot of it, most of it just comes down to what you can embed inside the digital certificate. Proof of ownership, insurance, warranties, lost or stolen alerts, claims, financing. Now, when I read financing, I wasn't sure exactly what they meant by this, but this is how I understood it. Maybe let's say that you buy a diamond and you pay 50% upfront and you're going to finance the rest. Well, the way that I understand this, and I could be wrong, maybe you could build that in to the digital certificate, all the financing and everything with that, for how the rest of the 50% is going to be paid off. All right, also some additional things here. Community and loyalty-based privileges and entitlements, access, experiences, inventory, content, right? So the service records, manufacturing reviews. And, Mike talked a little bit about how De Beers was catching a lot of flack throughout the years, and other diamond companies as well, from different people within the industry, about where their diamonds are coming from. And like a lot of people have very poor living conditions who are mining these diamonds, so on and so forth. And so the need and the demand for more transparency with where these diamonds are coming from and the entire life cycle of the diamond, the need for that has been going up. All right. So on top of that too, it's on ICP, right? So if you're not going to use a solution like this, you're going to have to use some other type of solution. And that might be some type of private network or some other type of a system, but they're not going to check all the boxes that ICP checks, right? This is on an open public network. And the different companies that do decide to use Origyn can actually participate in the governance themselves. On top of that, if they do it in-house, you have to incur all of the security risks and costs on top of that. All right, so you're taking on tons and tons of risk doing this in-house as opposed to doing it on ICP through Origyn. And there's so much additional functionality with these digital certificates compared to any other type of digital certificate. More so just because of the functionality of the base network ICP, in which you can actually embed inside these smart contracts. No single company owns underlying IP or trade secrets. No proprietary software exists. No traditional supplier-buyer relationship exists. No buyer lock-in or platform risk exists. And so when you're looking at why a luxury asset company would use Origyn and or ICP, there's just so many boxes that this checks off. Now, what he said was, he says this is how they're currently doing it per Mike, is that their certificates, or whatever you want to call them, are really just PDFs that you access via QR code. All right. That's what he says in the video. Just PDFs that they access via QR code. And let's just say that they were to, look at some other type of, blockchain solution for digital certificates. It's not going to have all of this functionality. And you can embed all of this within the NFT, within the digital certificate. He even, the other co-founder, and this was from the video yesterday, this was from the second part of that paragraph. We're already talking about biometrics because images and HT videos of the certified diamond are stored in the form of NFT entirely on the blockchain. All right. So, guys, I don't see how this doesn't become the main solution for diamonds, precious metals, luxury watches, art. I don't see how this doesn't become the main solution. There's just too much functionality, and there's too many things that you can embed inside these digital certificates on an open public network where you don't have to incur all the costs and the risks of security. Okay, a few other things that I want to go over. He said that, when he was talking about federality, he called it, he was just like, we're working with Italy. And see, the federality announcement, I mentioned this before, but I kind of looked that over when it first came out, until I saw that they were presenting to the Italian Senate. And I was like, wait a second, this is a bigger deal than what I originally thought. This isn't just some partnership with some tiny little nonprofit. There's actually a lot going on here, and there is. And he also said, we're working with 2 other countries in Europe. He also said, we're going to be pitching to the EU in July. Now, this was back before July. This video just posted a month ago, but I think that this was at the community conference, which was around 6 months ago. All right. He also said that they're working with another large country in South America. All right. The big thing here, guys, is ICP NFTs or digital certificates on ICP versus NFTs on any other network. There is a very, very big gap in functionality and different reasons why you would do that on ICP compared to anyone else. And also, what would be a good thing if somebody could do this? Maybe, I don't know, maybe one of the guys at Dfinity or somebody, the people from Code and Slate do a good job too. But if somebody could give a general overview and differentiate what you can do with NFTs on ICP compared to what you can do with NFTs on almost any other network, that would be great. That would be great, because that would help kind of narrow down the use cases that will probably be where ICP will be the ideal destination, right? Because you don't need to embed all of these different services in every type of NFT, right? But there are certain industries, certain assets that you would want a lot of these services embedded in the digital certificate. And, the gap between, if you think about the gap between ICP and any other layer 1, just as far as functionality, that same concept applies here, all right, when it comes to NFTs. So same concept. There's a very, very, very big gap in functionality here, and security, and risks, and pretty much everything. Again, per him, we're working with one of the world's largest grading companies at the core, with 6 or 7 others involved. That's what he said. Now, I don't care which one it is. I don't care if it's GIA. I don't care if it's IGI. It doesn't matter. It doesn't, as long as it's one of the major grading companies and there are others involved, huge, huge deal. But it all comes back to functionality. Now, this gets into the point that I was making yesterday. Even though I was making it through my misconception that they were potentially using some of Origyn's hardware. But when you're looking at standardization across an industry, right? So let's just talk about the diamonds and the gemstones for a second. So all these different grading companies, or grading organizations or bodies, whatever you want to call them, they have their own systems, their own processes by which they do this grading, right? But when it comes to the digital certificate portion of this, why, if you're a grading company, right, and you can offer digital certificates that have all of this functionality and that have all of these services, these value adding services included in the digital certificate, if you have this option, right, on an open public network where everything is on chain and you can participate in governance, if you have this option, why are you going to use a lesser product? For what reason? Your digital certificate is going to be significantly lacking when it comes to every other digital certificate that is using Origyn and ICP. So I don't see how this doesn't become the main solution, guys. It all comes back to functionality. As I've said many times, as much as people, want to ignore that, it all comes back to functionality. When you can do numerous things that others can't in a more secure environment, I don't know how this doesn't become the main solution. I really don't. So already working in the gemstone certification, diamond certification space, procurement and manufacturing, what they're doing with Federality and Italy. Fractionalized art, this will be a big one to look out for. And then precious metals. All right. So they're already in the precious metal space. And Mike said that they had been kind of flying under the radar, but that a lot of things would be coming out, over in the foreseeable future. Okay. So, I mean, I would pay attention to anything and everything. I mean, guys, I'm not even invested in Origyn. I don't even hold OGY. It's just because it's not on the NNS dashboard. That's the only reason why. All right. I just don't like using tons of different wallets. But I mean, I would pay attention to news developments happening with Origyn, because as it stands right now, it looks like they are the front runner for digital certificates with luxury assets, which is a very big market. And again, when your digital certificates have all of this functionality and security, I just don't see how this doesn't become the main solution. So that's the video. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. If I got anything wrong, let me know in the comment section below. If I missed anything, if you want to add something, feel free, put it in the comment section below. That's all I have for this video. This was not financial advice. Do your own research. I'm not a financial advisor. That's it. Take care. Have a good day. I'll see you in the next video.